Hey guys, how's everyone doing? We're starting about a minute early. So how's everyone doing? How's your day going? Where are you watching from? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for getting here on time and before the start of the call. I really like it when people turn up early. So where are you? Who's here? Who's on the call? And who's here? I'm just going to make sure I've got the settings all okay. Some messages, live chat. Okay, cool. Well, I should be able to see your messages. So, where are you watching from? Who's here? What countries are we watching from? I'm in London at the moment. It's quite a grey day outside. It's been raining heavily today. But I don't know if you watched the call yesterday, the live training yesterday. It was a really good training. We got a lot of questions answered. We looked at how to pronounce the sh, sh sounds, the ch and the j sounds. We looked at hey, thanks for tuning in. Gratin, what's the real name? I always forget. Gratin. You say Gratin, but that's not the real name, is it? What's the real name? I'm doing really well. Again, still really pleased and grateful that we've reached 10,000 subscribers. That's terrific. And it's Khalil, of course it is. Thanks, Khalil. Yeah, really pleased that we've hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'm really excited to answer some more questions today. So, thank you. Yesterday we looked at the in thanks. We looked at the sound as in thanks as well. We also looked at the ch, sh, zh, and I gave you the 4-step exercise to go between, say, for example, I showed you how to integrate those sounds into your English speaking. So what I'm also going to do is, because I'm going to be teaching some really useful concepts in these tutorials, I'm going to break some of these lessons down into some mini videos, and I'll repost them to the channel in due course. So if you're not able to make all of the lives, then you won't miss out. You will be able to watch the videos when I repost them to the channel in due course. But obviously if you can watch live, then that's better because it means I can answer your questions. So I want to make sure that I'm seeing your messages. Khalil, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions you'd like me to answer? Guys, I'm here to answer any question that you've got. So yeah, ask away, and I'm ready to answer the first question that comes in. Hi, Janutin, thanks for coming back again. You were here yesterday. Thanks very much for coming back. Where are you watching from? Oh, Laura, hi again. I hope you got the message. I sent you a message this morning. So I hope you got that. Let me know. I'll double check my emails again if not. Thanks. Who else just said hi there? Ashok, hi, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Right, let me just get started, okay, because there was a few questions I wasn't able to answer yesterday. So one question that I wasn't able to answer because we didn't have time was about the dark L sound. So let me just teach the dark L sound now, okay, because that's a really useful one that I know often people need some help with it to get it right. So the dark L, the L sound in English, there are really two ways to pronounce it. There's the way that you pronounce it when it comes at the beginning of a word, and then there's how it is pronounced when it comes after a vowel sound, okay? So at the beginning of a word, it would be in the word, for example, long, okay? Khalil, you'd love to do the online class by Zoom. Okay, yeah, that's actually, Khalil just talked about doing an online class on Zoom where I can do some corrections. I do that already in my private coaching community, but I'm thinking of actually doing some of that here on the channel as well, where I can then give some more feedback and so everyone can see what improvements other people are making. One of the best ways to actually see how to make improvements yourself is to see the difficulties that someone else has had and how they've overcome them. So I do intend to do some of that in the near future, okay, Khalil? So thank you for the suggestion. So I was talking about the dark L. Let's start with the light L, and then I'll explain the differences. The light L, which comes at the beginning of a word, for example, long, what happens is the tip of your tongue comes up and touches the alveolar ridge, which is right behind your teeth. Let me get a pen and I can show you what I mean. Tip of the tongue here comes up and receives, sorry, and it touches the alveolar ridge, which is right behind your teeth. And then when there's a vowel sound after it, the tongue just flips down into the vowel sound. So for example, if we take the word long, the O sound which comes after the L sound, we start off in that position, air's coming over the sides of the tongue, and then we just flip down. Hi Genevieve, thanks for tuning in. La, long. Follow along and do this with me now, then we'll go to the dark L. La, 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 la. Now in a word, we'll say long, 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 long. Okay, one more example of this sound at the beginning of a word would be, for example, life. Okay, we love life. So we've got the I diphthong, and we're simply going into the L position. The tongue flips down, and then we go straight into the vowel sound after it. I, lie, 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 lie. Okay, so the light L, which is what I've just done there, is usually easier to pronounce than the dark L. Okay, so we really want to start with that. For many of you, you might already be pronouncing it correctly, which is great. Many languages have the L sound just like we have it in English. Certain languages don't have the L sound, or it's very similar to the R sound, and there's not a very clear differentiation between L and R. For example, in Japanese, the B sound is kind of halfway in between the English L and the English R. So assuming your language has the L sound, the light L should be quite easy to make. Okay, what about the dark L? Because this is what we want to know. The dark L happens after vowel sounds. So for example, if we take the word pool, okay, pool, as in swimming pool, or there was a pool of water on the floor, okay? What we're doing here is the tip of the tongue is still touching the alveolar ridge, like that, but then what's happening is the rest of the tongue is higher up in the mouth, and there's more of the tongue that's touching the roof of the mouth, okay? Now, you might think, or you might think that that's a hard thing to make, okay? So I'm going to give you a really easy way to feel this. What you want to do is make the long oo sound in English, as in you, oo, oo, oo. And what's happening when you do that sound is your tongue is high up and further back in your mouth, okay? Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then what happens is if you make the oo sound, and then when you're making it, you just lift the tip of your tongue up so it touches the roof of your mouth. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That L there, where your tongue touches the roof of your mouth, is the dark L. You should be able to hear when the tongue touches the roof of the mouth. I'll just go like that when the tongue touches, although I think you can probably hear it already, okay? Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, can you hear that? Ooh, ooh. All right, that's compared to which is the L sound at the beginning of a word. So can you hear, if I say the sound is softer and it sounds like it's more airy and it's lighter. That's why it's called the light L. It's a soft sound, it's light, and it's easy to make, okay? Whereas the dark L, it's coming from further back in the mouth, and it sounds like a darker kind of sound. Okay, it's just got a different kind of feel to it. It sounds like it's coming back from more here in your throat. Okay, so how is everyone finding the dark L sound? Are you finding it easy? Are you finding it okay? Or are you finding it really difficult? Let's just see in the comments. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of different words that we can put it in, just so you can then take this away and practice it. All right. So let's take we'll start with the word pool, since we've just looked at that one. Okay. That's the easiest sound to go into the dark L from. Ashok is saying it's a bit difficult for him. Khalil is saying it's easy for you. That's great. Really pleased to hear that, Khalil. Okay. Jonathan saying is okay. Good. Let's go for a couple of examples, and then we'll put it in two examples. We'll put the examples in sentences, and then we'll move on to something else. All right. So what we're going to say is pool. Let's start with that, and I will highlight when I'm again doing the dark L. Okay. Pool, 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 pool. Okay, that's it very slowly. If I just say it quickly, just so you can hear what it sounds like quickly, that would be like this. Pool, 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 pool. Okay, let's now take that word at a slow pace and put that into a sentence. So we'll say, I went to the pool. What I'm saying there is I went to the swimming pool, but I'm just taking off the word swimming. I don't need to say swimming because it's obvious what I mean by that, okay? I went to the pool. 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 Okay, Iris is saying I can pronounce pool, letter L and letter U. Okay, good. So Iris has got this. That's really good, Iris. Khalil, I went to the pool. Perfect. Nur said you're finding it okay. All right. Let's do one other dark L. Jonathan, success. Really, really pleased to hear that. Good stuff. Let's do one other example. Let's say we'll say al. Okay, we'll say al because the a sound is the complete opposite to oo. It's from the bottom of our mouth. It's the front of our mouth. And our lips are really wide open. Okay, so this time when we go from the a to the dark L, al, al, there's a much bigger transition in the mouth. Okay. Let's start with the sound combination, then we will put it into a word. Okay, we'll say ow, 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 ow. If I just compare that L, dark L, to the light L, ow, dark L, light L. Dark L, ow, light L. Okay. Now I've just had a notification saying that my phone is low battery, so let me just plug it in so I don't cut out on everyone. Okay, so whilst I do that, we'll say the word pal. Okay, pal, 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 pal. You probably know this. Pal is another word for friend in English. So I could say, Khalil, he's my pal, okay? He's my pal. He's my pal. Yep. Hey, pal, that's a really good example. Hey, pal. Hey, pal. Hey, pal. Also, if you know PayPal, probably most of us have used PayPal at least once, that's how you pronounce it, PayPal, okay? So that's the word pal. Nurse just asked, can we practice La La Land? Yes. So La La Land. La la land. La la land. Does that make sense? La la land. Okay, I won't spend too much time on that because it's not a sort of example that I'd use very frequently in English. Okay, but la la land. La la land. The key with that example there is to make sure you're adding the long R sounds. It's not la la land, it's la la land. Long, long, short. La la land. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. No, got it? Good stuff. Well done. Good. Right. That's the dark L. I'll leave it there for now. If you want any more help on this, guys, I've covered the dark L in incredible detail in my course. So I'm not going to talk about this now, but there's a big promotion coming up on my pronunciation course this weekend. Okay, so I'll talk about that later on in the week if you're keen to know more about that. But for now, let me answer some more questions. So I saw someone had asked about the word months earlier, which is a really good good question. I can't see, I'm just going back through the comments. Who had asked it? You guys finding this useful? I hope so. Let me know if you're finding it useful. Okay, I can't actually see the comment who asked for the word months, but I'll tell you it anyway. Okay, months. So this is quite a difficult consonant combination because you've got the mun, the N sound, followed by the sound, and then the S sound after that. So it's an example of a 3 consonant combination in English. Months, months, months. Okay. Actually, what I'm just going to tell you is, let me give you a tip here. Okay. There's something that happens in advanced English pronunciation called, well, 2 things. One is assimilation and one is elision. And this isn't something that you need to be worried about learning about, okay, which is good. You don't need to worry about learning it at all. But it's a useful thing to be aware of because if you're good with pronunciation and you've got a good hearing, or you're studying it like, you know, we're doing together, what you might notice sometimes is in quick English speaking, you might hear people, especially native English speakers, dropping a consonant in a combination where you've got 3 consonants together. So months is a really good example of this. First of all, I'll say it correctly, which is months, months. Well, step 1 is the N sound. Step 2 is the sound, which, by the way, that is quite tricky for a lot of people. Okay, I'll talk about that more another time. And then afterward, months, months, months. Okay. What you might hear native speakers doing, especially in informal speech and quick speech, is dropping a consonant from that consonant combination. And if it's a consonant combination where there's 3 consonants, it's usually going to be the middle consonant. So what you might hear, something like this, okay, is if I'm speaking very quickly and informally, you might hear me saying months. It's been 4 months since I've done this. 4 months. Where I'm saying the N sound and then going to the S sound right away, and I'm not making the sound. Because month is quite a tricky consonant combination to make. Okay, but thanks for the loves. Thanks, Monty. Thanks for sending the loves. And Jonathan, you struggled with the S after the S. Okay, I'll get to that. I'm teaching this to you so you're aware of it. Okay, you don't want to try and learn to avoid making difficult consonant combinations in English. You don't want to drop them to be lazy. Okay, because the thing is, if you do that, you're probably going to drop things where you shouldn't drop them, and then that could lead to unclear pronunciation or what could be seen as bad quality English. Okay, and we don't want that. So I'm teaching you something that native speakers do. Here's what's interesting. Native speakers wouldn't always realize that they're doing this, okay? A lot of the time, there's a lot of things that, maybe in your native language too, there's a lot of things that native speakers do in the language that they don't know that they're doing, okay? It just happens because that's kind of how you've grown up to speak the language. So this is one of those things where if you said to someone in English, why do you drop consonants? They probably wouldn't realize that they were doing it, even though they are. Okay, so it's just, that's like a bonus advanced tip to be aware of there. What you might hear happening in quick, especially informal speech, is months. Now, let me just see what Laura said here, because I wanted to come back on this. Laura said, sometimes English natives don't always pronounce all the letters. They're going to pronounce that rather than than, yet, that rather than that, yet, and better instead of better. It's considered advanced pronunciation. Okay, good question. So what Laura's question here is English speakers dropping consonants considered advanced pronunciation? I'm referring to it as advanced pronunciation in the sense that it's not something that you need to learn to speak English clearly or correctly, okay? It's an advanced thing in the sense that you don't need to worry about learning this yourself, but it's a useful thing once everything else is good to be aware of, okay? And also, if you're someone that's really interested in pronunciation, you might just be wondering, why are people doing this, okay? Laura's example there, though, she asked about the word, sometimes native speakers say better instead of better. For example, this pen is better than that pen. That's not so much, I mean, it is elision, but that's just generally a certain, something that happens in a certain kind of English. So in what's known as Thames Estuary English, which is spoken in areas like Essex and other areas within England, you might hear people dropping their T's, and instead of saying better, they'll say better instead, where you get a sound coming from the throat in the glottal area. Now, again, that's not something that you want to do if you're trying to speak English with BBC pronunciation, okay? If you want to learn that accent for you know, because you want to learn it, then that's fine. But I'd never suggest that you try and use tactics like that in a situation like a job interview, for example, okay? In BBC English, we really want to make sure that we're not dropping T's. So I've just kind of gone off on a tangent there to teach you about elision. Does that make sense? And is that useful to be aware of? Just whilst you let me know in the comments, by the way, because I want to make sure that you're, you know, finding this stuff helpful and useful. So Jonathan has said cloths and moths are devils in disguise, she thinks. Right, so the question here is the sound with the S sound after it. I really, really, really recommend practicing these kind of situations, okay, these kind of combinations, because especially when you have a difficult consonant in English, like the sound, when you get another consonant that comes either before it or after it, month, or moths, if you already struggle making one consonant, if you then put another consonant right next to it, you're probably going to get either one wrong or both wrong, okay? So anytime you get consonant combinations in English, which are usually the most difficult things to get right, the best thing to do is to make sure you can get the first one right on its own. So in this case, it would be the sound. And then what you do, that Monty's watching from Bangladesh, thanks Monty. Then what you do is you then add the consonant either before or after it. So if we take the word month, if I was teaching this, you know, to you, which I am now, what I'm going to say is step one, make sure you can say the N sound, make sure you can say the sound, then practice them together. And then from there, you can then put that into a word. Month, 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 month. Okay? Or if we use another example, moths, we'll say there's two-step process. In this case, we'd say get comfortable with, then, and then put them together. Okay, does that make sense? And then you get really challenging examples like months. And the key with any words like this is just simply to practice it so slowly that you can get it right. Okay, I'm going to give you a really useful tip here. I play the drums. Okay, one of my biggest passions in life is playing the drums. And I'm always trying to play things that I can't play, because that's how I get better. And the quickest way to learn something that I can't play is to start by doing it as slowly as I need to get it right. So if I want to play something quickly, which is what I usually want to do, no matter how slowly I need to do it to get it right to begin with, that is the process that I have to go through to be able to learn how to make it correctly, and only then will it sound good when I play it at the speed I want to. And exactly the same applies to your pronunciation. When I was struggling with my pronunciation in Portuguese, I started saying things as slowly as I needed to get them correct, and then gradually building them up. Because if there's a sound that I don't have in English that you have in your language and I want to learn it, if I just try and say it at 100% normal speed, I'm going to really struggle, and you probably can imagine that I wouldn't say it very well. So the same applies in English. We want whatever sound that we're working on, we want to say it as slow as we need to get it correct. And then we just gradually pick up the pace. And that is the best way, that is the most quick and effective way to take something that's challenging and then make it easy at the right speed that we want it. Okay, so that's just a bit of a side note there, but in terms of strategy, in terms of how you learn any pronunciation, that's how you want to do it. You want to slow down, get it right to begin with, and then speed it back up. Okay, so Jonathan has said, now I know the correct way to say moth cloth. Excellent, good, I'm really pleased, really, really pleased. Everyone watching, the way that I've just taught those there, take that away and work with it after this lesson, okay? Because one of the main consonants that will make you sound unnatural in English is the sound, because it's just such a weird consonant that English has created, okay? So I really, really highly recommend that you work on that one, because that can make a big, big difference. And whenever I work with someone, that's one of the first things that we usually look at, okay? So I'll move on from that one now, and I'll see what else we've got. Thanks everyone, by the way, who's sending love and hearts. I really, really appreciate it. Ashok has said, am I planning to cover word, sentences, and speech as part of pronunciation? Good question. So yes, I've actually, in my courses, I've covered words and like all of this stuff in very comprehensive detail. I've covered how to put words into sentences with stress, how to use connected speech. Like I've covered that all on my courses already. And then I'm going to be uploading more videos on all of that stuff to the channel here, you know, as we go forward. If you really want comprehensive start to finish guides on that, just check out the course. As I said, there's a promotion coming up on that this weekend. For now, right, so Khalil has said, and thanks Khalil, this is a good point. Guys, any concepts that I'm talking about any questions you have about pronunciation, look to see if I've already covered them on the channel here, okay? Because I have covered a lot of different things already. I'm trying to cover some new things at the moment to give you some new pieces of information, but there's a lot of stuff on the channel already, okay? So I really, really highly recommend watching all of that, because that really will help you, okay? So let me just go through the comments, because I've had quite a few comments coming in, okay? Dark and green, and have a session with you tomorrow. I'm Sam, your student. I've purchased your course. Excellent. You've purchased the course and you're super happy. Really, really good. Thank you, Sam. What's your surname? Because yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate that kind testimonial. Sam's saying buy my course, everyone. So if Sam's saying it, that's I appreciate that a lot. I really do believe if you like this stuff here, you would love the courses, guys. Okay, they're really there to help you and get you the results. In Spain, cool. Okay, I will. I'll send you a message, Sam. Okay, thanks very much for the kind message. I'll reach out to you. Okay. So help. So Nur has asked for the R sound. Let's just see what else. I don't want to miss comments. There's quite a few coming in, which is great. I really appreciate it. Diego. Okay, Jos has talked about, or Joss, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has talked about tongue twisters. The best thing to do with tongue twisters, Joss, I won't go into any specific ones now, but in all the videos where I've covered specific sounds on the channel, in the majority of those videos, I've put whichever sound I've been teaching into a sentence with a tongue twister. So just go through any of the videos on the channel that you want help with, and towards the end of the videos are where the tongue twisters are. Okay, not everyone always watches to the end of the videos, but really that's where the main information is if you want to maximize your confidence with any of the sounds. Okay, so rather than teaching any now, go back and watch any videos on the channel already, because there are a lot of tongue twisters in there. Okay, Diego asked about first, bird, and third. Diego, I taught this in the live yesterday. I taught the sound quite comprehensively on the tutorial yesterday. Okay, so can we do this? Can you go and watch that after this live here? I covered it comprehensively yesterday. Watch it there, and then if you still need help, come back tomorrow, and then we can look at it there tomorrow. Okay, because I'm going to be teaching every day live this week. Okay. Hi Max from Poland. Thanks for tuning in. Max on. Sorry. Right. Diego, where can you find the course? I will put a link down to the course after this video, but if you wait till this weekend, I'm going to do a big promotion with money off, and I'm also going to throw in a big bonus. So if you'd rather wait until the weekend, and then I'll send out an email and I'll put lots of information on the channel about it. Okay, that's the best thing I can recommend. Sarkan, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back. Really pleased to have you here. Okay, right. Let me answer some more questions. Georgiana, again, I hope I pronounced that correctly, has said, how do you pronounce the word unusual? Good question. Funny word. Unusual. So what might cause people difficulty with this one is a couple of things. The dark L sound at the end of the word, we've already looked at that today, so I won't teach that again now. But you want to make sure that you're getting a dark L at the end of the word. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's a diphthong that goes before the dark L at the end of the word. So you've got unusual, unusual, ual. Okay, you want to make sure that you're getting the ual correct, unusual. Okay, the sound I taught yesterday very comprehensively on the live yesterday, so I recommend watching that for guidance on the sound, and then it's just piecing them all together. Unusual, unusual. You might coming out of that sound might be a bit challenging. Okay, unusual, unusual. Okay, so really the main difficulty that you probably have with this sound after the L is making the strong enough. Okay, so if I just give you the word in a sentence, it's unusual to, what can I say? It's unusual for me to write with my left hand because I'm right-handed. It's unusual for me to write with my left hand. Unusual, usual. Okay, does that make sense? Again, I've already covered the dark L and I covered the yesterday, so check that out for more guidance on that. thanks everyone for commenting. There's a lot of comments coming in. This is great. Okay, so your John is saying the un is the problem. Okay, interesting. So Sarkhan said it's not unusual to see me cry. Good example, really good example. I would rather that it was unusual because I don't want to see you crying, Sarkhan. Okay. So the real question here then for your jhana is the un in the word unusual. So what do we need to know? It's is a short English vowel sound, and the tongue is fairly low down in the mouth, okay, un. What's happening is the highest point of the tongue in the sound is between the center and the back of your mouth. It's not a front vowel sound like Look at my tongue, The tongue pulls back for okay? And my lips are in a relaxed and neutral position. They're not wide, and they're not rounded either. They're not That's important because you don't want to make an sound instead of an sound, all right? I hope that's clear. And then what you're doing is you're going from the to the n, and you're simply taking your tongue, and pushing it up to the n. Okay? Unusual. And then after the for the y sound, what happens then is the back of your tongue comes right up to the back of the mouth, and then you sort of push out to make that y bit, okay? Unusual. Okay? Does that make sense? Again, the y is an important bit to get right there as well. Okay? Right, what else is going on here? Okay, Ashok has asked with the word excuse me. This is a good one that I think everyone can benefit from this probably. Let me just get a quick drink. Where's everyone commenting from? Where's everyone watching from today? We had quite a few people in different countries yesterday, so where's everyone watching from today? There we go, right. I'm using my voice a lot here. So Ashok has asked about excuse me, okay? And that's really good because in English, we use excuse me all the time, especially in formal situations. For example, if I need someone's help, or if I'm lost and I want to get someone to help me on the street, I might say, excuse me, can you help me? Excuse me, what time is it? And I'm normally going to say excuse me if I'm going and speaking to a stranger, someone that I don't know. So we want to be getting that right, because if that's the first thing I'm saying it correctly is going to make a really good first impression. So, excuse me, okay? Excuse me. What we're doing is we're starting with the sound, and then the tongue is going up to make into the K position. Okay. We want the tongue to go up to the K position and then cut off airflow. No airflow will come out because my tongue is blocking it. Okay. Now, this is important. There's a consonant after the K sound. We go X. So we're going from the K sound into the S. X. Okay. Because of that, we're not going to go X. We're not going to flap out of the K. We're going to go into the K position. Airflow will stop. Then we're going to go to the S position. And then the airflow will start again, like this. X, 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 X. Okay, so I'm making a x, 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 instead of making a cuss, like I'm adding in a schwa sound. Okay, I'm going straight into x, x, x. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope that makes sense because that's quite important, all right? We go x, 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 and then from there, x, then we go back into the K position, but this time because we've got a vowel after the K, we then k, we come out of it. X, scoo, 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 excuse me, excuse me, excuse, coo, coo, excuse me, okay, excuse me, excuse me. Does that make sense? Just leave a comment below now and let me know if that makes sense because I want to make sure that you're getting it right, okay? Excuse me, excuse me. Sam has said not hearing the EX, okay? The important thing here is the X sound in English is pronounced with a K and an S sound, okay? It's x, x, x. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, okay? And then coo, 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 coos me, excuse me. Does that make sense? And also another thing, excuse me, is it's not an S sound at the end. It's spelt with an S, but it's a voiced Z sound, okay? It's excuse me, not an S. Not excuse me, excuse me. All right, does that make sense? I really, really hope that makes sense. And yeah, we want to be making sure that we're voicing the voiced sounds at the end of words when they should be voiced. Here's a bonus tip. The Z in excuse that's spelled with an S is the same as the Z in the word has, is, was. No S sound in those words. S sound is written, but a Z sound is pronounced. Has, is, was, excuse. Okay? I hope that makes sense. But now I thought that U is pronounced. Excuse. Okay, so Maxon has said it makes sense, but up to now he thought that U is pronounced. Excuse. So it is pronounced. Goo, oo, oo. It's pronounced after the K sound. Excuse me. Excuse. That oo is the oo sound. Excuse me. Excuse me. Does that make sense? Excuse me. Does that make sense, Maxon? Let's see. Makes sense. Okay. I hope that is making sense. So I meant the first. Cool. So, okay, Maxon says that makes sense. So I'm just making sure that I'm kind of answering the questions as they come in here. So, excuse. Yeah. So Sam, you're right there. Okay. So it's sound followed by the K sound, but you don't come out of it. You just go into it. Then you go into the S sound, X, 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 X. Then you go back into the K, and then that's the next syllable. X, goo, X, goo, X, goo. So think of it like two syllables in that word. Syllable one is X, X. Syllable two is coos, coos, coos. Excuse me. Make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. Awesome. Okay, Maxwell says that makes sense. Good stuff. Toka, hi Toka, thanks for tuning in. I see you've commented a couple of times, but I think I missed the last comment. So what's your question? Can I explain how to pronounce exactly? Exactly. Yeah, sure, I can explain how to pronounce exactly. It is an I sound at the beginning, and then you go into a G sound. Ig, 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 ig. So a bit like excuse me, this time we're starting in an I sound, and we're going straight into a G. Exactly. Exactly. It's a G, not a K. So it's not exactly. It's ing. You should be able to feel some voicing in your throat there when the pressure builds up and airflow stops. Ing. And then from there you do a Z. Za. 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 Exactly. 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 Now, there's another thing that will be very useful for everyone here, okay? What you've got in the word exactly is you've got two plosive sounds that come together. You've got the k, exact, and then you've got the T sound, exact, exact, exact. Now, here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to go into the K position and then come out of it before you make the T sound, like I just did there. It's not exact. When you have two plosives together in English, or even three plosives together, you go into the position of plosive one, airflow stops, and then you come out and release airflow in position two. So in the word exactly, I'm going into the K position, exact, K, airflow stops, then I move to the T position, and then airflow comes out again. Exactly, 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 exactly. Now, you might hear a little bit of airflow come out, or you might not hear any airflow come out. Either of those is fine. Okay, it's correct if you have a bit of airflow come out. It's correct if no airflow comes out. What you want to avoid is full airflow coming out for the first plosive. So we don't want exactly. It's exactly, exactly, okay? And again, like I explained earlier on, if people missed it when I started the call, I explained about something called elision in English. When you've got three consonants together, like we have in the word exactly, that consonant combination there, because the T sound is in the middle, you might not hear it being pronounced. So if I said exactly really quickly, especially if I'm speaking a bit more informally, what's going to happen is I might not pronounce that T. So I might get exactly, where there's no T there. Again, it's better if you can learn it with the T there to make sure that you're making it more precisely to begin with, than intentionally learn it without the T there and then find that you've learned something but then you apply it in the wrong situation. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. How's everyone getting on here? Okay, just give me some comments because I just need to have a quick drink because my throat's getting a bit sore. Okay, just bear with me one moment. Thanks for all the comments, by the way. I really appreciate them all. Really appreciate everyone watching and joining this with me. Just 1 second. I need to clear my throat. How are we doing? Okay. Okay. I tell you what. Alex has asked me a question. That I'm going to give you a bonus tip that I've not taught before on the channel here. Okay. Alex Buskin, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Alex has asked about the difference between E and I. Okay, and thanks for all the thank you messages, by the way, really appreciate it. I'm going to give you a couple of points that I've not really talked about much before when I've explained E and I. Okay, when I teach sounds, I normally focus on the position of the mouth because if you haven't got the position correct, then nothing else matters. If your position isn't correct, then regardless of anything else, the sound will be incorrect, okay? What I'll now do is I'll give you two bonus tips about why E versus I might be difficult to hear the difference between. For example, let's take the words sit and seat. Okay, sit and seat. I'm not going to explain the basic differences between these two sounds now, okay, because I've taught them before. If you want to see the difference in position between these two sounds, watch the tutorial on this channel where I explain the differences between these two sounds, okay? What I'll teach now is two things that might make these sounds difficult to hear aside from the position of them, okay? The first thing is a thing in English called Pre-Fortis Clipping. Now that's a complicated name, but what it is actually very simple, okay? Pre-Fortis Clipping means that if you get a sound coming before a voiceless consonant in English, so let's take the T sound, T is a voiceless consonant in English, okay? If we take a vowel sound and put it before the voiceless consonant, that vowel sound will be shortened in length by the voiceless consonant, okay? So to make this really obvious to see, if we take the word see, I see, okay, we're using the long English vowel sound E. And if I just say the word now, I want you to listen for how long the long vowel sound is. See, see, see. That's me saying it normally and relaxed, okay? Now, if I add the D sound onto the end of the word see, so I say seed, the length of the E stays the same. And the reason why it stays the same is because the D sound is voiced. There's vibration in my throat. Seed, seed, see, seed, see, seed. Now here's the thing. If I add a T sound onto the end of it, it will shorten the length of the vowel sound. Let me go between all three to exemplify this. See, seed, seat. Again, see, seed, seat. Can you hear how that long English vowel sound, it's the same long English vowel sound E, but it gets shortened in length. And instead of that extra length, you get a pause there instead. Seat, seat, seat. Okay, that is called Pre-Fortis Clipping, and that's just one example of it, but any vowel sound will get shortened in length when a voiceless consonant comes after it. So seed, seat. The length of the long vowel sound gets shortened a little bit, okay? Again, this is a more advanced tactic, but this is a thing to be aware of that can help you to understand why it might be difficult to hear the difference between a short vowel sound, I, and a long vowel sound, E, okay? Maxon just asked, do you need to make a smile mouth to say E? Okay, so I will just answer that quickly and then I'll carry on in explaining what I'm talking about here. So Maxon has asked, do you need to smile to make the E sound? I recommend when you're learning this sound that you smile, E, and you stretch your lips wide, E, and there's only enough space for half a finger to go between your teeth. E, 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 E. The reason why you want to do that is so you can feel this sound in the mouth. If you do that with your mouth, if you put your mouth in this position, you're going to get the E sound, okay? When you're speaking naturally and quickly, you're not going to stress that position. So if you're speaking quickly in conversation, you're not going to go into a full E position, okay? But it's still important to be able to go into this position so that you can just get a feel for the sound in your mouth, okay? What will happen is there's certain, like, your mouth can be more relaxed and still make the sounds correctly, but if you don't know how to feel the sound in the first place, you won't really be able to know if you're making it correctly or not, okay? So when I teach any vowel sound, first of all, I teach you how to feel it in the mouth by mastering that position. And then the next step is to then put it into your speaking in a slightly more relaxed way. So if I'm saying, let me see, okay, if you said to me, can I do something? And I said, let me see. I'm not going to go, let me see, okay, because I know how the sound feels in the mouth. I'm going to say, let me see. But I'm still doing that position, but just in a slightly more relaxed way, okay? So I hope that answers your question, and I hope that provides some value to everyone else watching as well. Whenever you're learning a new sound, and I do this when I learn the sounds in every other languages, I want to make sure that I master the sound on its own first, even if that means exaggerating the position, so that I understand the sound. Okay, Sam has said, do you have similar set of rules to Pre-Fortis Clipping for pronouncing other unknown words? Could you expand upon that question, Sam? For example, like give me an example, can you? Maxon says, that's valuable, thanks a lot. Good, right. So I've just explained what Pre-Fortis Clipping is, okay, and how voiceless consonants shorten the length of a vowel sound before it. There's one other thing. So let me give you an example now. E versus I. If I said the word seat, we've got the long English vowel sound E, seat, being shortened by the consonant after it. Seat, seat, seat. If I said a different word, for example, Sid, where I've got the short English vowel sound I, followed by a voice consonant that doesn't shorten the length of the vowel sound before it. Listen to this. Sid, seat, sid, seat, sid, seat. Can you hear how the length of the long English vowel sound gets shortened right down? It's still longer than the short English vowel sound, but the length of it is a lot shorter. Okay, so that's one reason why, again, you might struggle to hear the length of the long English vowel sound being pronounced, a bit more longer. Okay, I'm going to give you one other reason now, and this really, again, this here is a very powerful tip. This is another reason why you might hear short English vowel sounds sounding like they're a bit longer compared to long English vowel sounds which might be sound like they're being shortened. Okay, so we've looked at how E could be shortened by T after it, seat. One thing that makes syllables longer in English is when we stress them. So every word in English will have a stressed syllable. For example, in the word water, which is what I've got here, the stressed syllable is war, water, water, water. That syllable is louder, it's higher in pitch, and it lasts for longer. Water, water. Any stressed syllable usually lasts for a little bit longer when it is stressed. Okay, so if we now give you an example of where you have a sentence and the long English vowel sound is shortened because of a voiceless consonant after it, and then in that same sentence I'm going to stress a short English vowel sound. Maxon asked for E, I think it was Maxon, someone asked for E versus I, right? So I'm going to give you a sentence where I shorten the long vowel sound and lengthen the short vowel sound. If I said to you, sit on the seat, okay, if I'm annoyed and I'm giving you a command and I'm stressing the syllable sit, which is what I want you to do, if I say to you, sit on the seat, I'm making the long English vowel sound seat shorter because there's a t after it. I'm technically also doing that to the syllable sit because there's a t after the short vowel sound, but because I'm stressing that short English vowel sound because in the word sit, the syllable then lasts for a bit longer. So if I say sit on the seat, sit on the seat, sit on the seat, can you hear how the length of them is almost very difficult to hear the difference between, right? Again, these are like advanced tactics. You want to learn these once you've already learned the difference between long and short vowel sounds. But once you know the difference, and I've taught the difference comprehensively on the channel, so hopefully you should already know the difference. Once you know that, then applying this knowledge to that should then help you to understand why, even when you know the difference between the long vowel sounds and the short vowel sounds, there's still different elements of English pronunciation that can still make these sounds just slightly difficult to hear the difference between, right? So I hope that makes sense. Just let me know, how are you finding this? Because these are new concepts that I've not really taught before on the channel. I teach them in my course. I've not taught them here on the channel before. So I'm just going to see what the comments are about what I've said here, okay? So Sam said this is really helpful. Okay. Maxwell said this is really useful. Alex said thank you very much indeed. Monty, thanks for your comment, thank you for your help. And yeah, okay, cool. So I think this has made sense. And Zenny's also said thank you very much for a very useful lesson. Cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause things here. Okay, we've been live for an hour now. I've taught quite a few different concepts, and my throat is starting to hurt. And what I really want to be able to do is come back tomorrow and teach for another hour, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. First of all, tomorrow's live training is going to be in the morning. It's going to be at 10:15 a.m. UK time. So work out what time that is in your time zone. 10:15 a.m. tomorrow UK time. I'm going to do another live pronunciation Q&A. Okay. Any questions that I haven't answered today, I will try and answer them in tomorrow's Q&A. Okay, so Toka, I can see that you've commented. I will do my best. I'll answer that tomorrow, okay, because I can already feel my throat is starting to get a bit sore. Yeah. Guys, how have you found this? How have you found it? I hope you found it really useful. Maxon says 11:15 Polish time. Perfect, good. Glad you got it. Yeah, if you've liked what I've taught here, I think Samuel was asking about my paid pronunciation course. The reason why I haven't been posting content on the channel recently is because I've been 100% focused on completing my paid pronunciation course, which is a step-by-step, start-to-finish solution for English pronunciation to take you from beginner to advanced. Everything we've looked at today, especially the more advanced concepts like Pre-Fortis Clipping, Assimilation, elision, intonation, all of that is covered very, very comprehensively in that course so that you can apply that to your English speaking. Now, this weekend, I'm going to be doing a big promotion on that course. I'm going to drop the price significantly of it. And I'm also going to add in a really, really exciting bonus, which I'll talk about more at the weekend. Okay, so if you want to know more about that, if you're on my email list already, I'm going to be sending out emails as we go through the week about that. But rest assured, towards the end of the week, you're going to be able to get a really, really exciting promotion if you want to. And I would love it if I could work with all of you here a bit more personally through the course and give you a bit more personal feedback than I can do through these videos here. So if you're interested in that, make sure to be checking in with the channel this week because, yeah, you're not going to want to miss this, okay? It's going to be the best promotion I've ever done to celebrate 10,000 subscribers on the channel and also to celebrate the fact that I've finished the course because it's taken me 2 years of long and hard work to get this completed. So it's a big course and it's going to really, really help. Someone who's actually in it already, who joined the course, Anastasia, she got asked recently if she was a native speaker. And that goes to show how much the course has been able to help and the results that it's kind of delivered. She got asked if she was a native speaker as a result of going through what was already in the course. So it's going to really, really help you if you really want to, you know, maximize your confidence in English and develop your career in English. So there's more about that coming in the second half of this week, okay? But for now, Tomorrow there's another live Q&A coming. If you missed yesterday's live Q&A, then it's on the channel. You can go back and watch it. And we covered loads of really useful stuff yesterday. We covered how to make the s, z, sh, z, ch, j sounds in English. We covered the th sound. We covered the ng sound. We covered some words. In today's lesson, we've looked at assimilation. We've not looked at assimilation, but we looked at elision and how we sometimes drop consonants in consonant combinations in English. For example, in months, you might hear people dropping the th out of the middle of it, or in exactly, you might hear the T sound being dropped. What else have we looked at? We looked at the dark L. That was the first thing we looked at. We looked at the word unusual. We looked quite a few different things. So, yeah, I really hope you found this useful. If you joined late or you missed out, then just go back and watch it, watch the rest of it. I really want to give you as much value as possible in these live Q&As because I want to help you. I want you to get the results. So I'm here to help you get the results. And yeah, we'll leave it at that today because I'm getting a sore throat. But thanks everyone for commenting. I really appreciate all your comments. If you have any other questions about me, someone said to me, a subscriber on the channel said to me that I should do a 10 facts about me and what I do outside of pronunciation. Would you like me to do a video on that? Because normally I keep the channel very focused on pronunciation, but if you'd like to know a bit more about me and my life outside of pronunciation, I'd be very happy to share some of that stuff with you. Interestingly, it's to do with my interests outside of pronunciation that I teach English like I do. It's through my other experiences of having difficulties with pronunciation myself in Brazil and Japan that I teach pronunciation and that I came up with my own methodologies. And I'm a drummer, so learning how to learn a musical instrument has really helped me create techniques that I found very useful in teaching pronunciation, but also in learning languages. So cool. Laura said yes. Sam said yes. Sarkan said yes. Cool. Okay, I'll do that. I will create a video about Michael and more than just pronunciation. I'm glad that you'd like to know that. That makes me happy. Genevieve says yes too. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, one of them will be coming soon then. So, thanks very much again, guys. If you know anyone else who could benefit from these videos, then please share these videos with them. Please share the channel with them. The number one thing that you can do to help me to make more videos is to help me to grow the channel. So if you know anyone that would like to learn pronunciation or would like to improve their confidence in English, please share the channel with them. Whether you share any individual videos or anything like that, keep doing it. I really appreciate that. A lot of the things I've taught today, for example, E versus I, if you want more fundamental training on that, go back and watch the videos, the step-by-step tutorials on that I've already got on the channel. And we'll leave it there. A few more comments have come in. Alex used to play the drums too. Awesome. What kit did you used to have? Let me know about that. I'd love to know that. Sam saying I should do an intro. That's a good idea. I should do a jingles. I should do an intro on the drums. Now that is a good idea. Okay, leave that one with me. Yeah, cool. That's a really good idea. I'll think about that. Thank you. Right, let's do it. I'm going to go and rest my throat and have some more water. Iris is from Peru. It's difficult to pronounce the letter V. Okay, Iris, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk about that. Well, I'll say tomorrow, but my live tomorrow is at 10:15 a.m., which will probably be in the middle of the night for you if you're in Peru. So maybe I won't do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll do that one later on in the week. Okay, come back later on in the week and I'll answer that question for you there. The V sound at the end of the words. That's a good question. Great. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate the support, as always. There's more coming this week. There's a great promotion on the course coming at the end of this week as well. So thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. UK time. Same place. See you there. Thanks for watching today.